A major controversy has erupted involving Georgetown University, a United Nations expert, and several governments from around the world. The situation has quickly escalated, drawing widespread attention from the media, academic circles, and political leaders alike. At the heart of the storm is a single figure whose work and words have sparked intense debate and divided opinions across continents. In a move that surprised many, Georgetown quietly removed Francesca Albanese from its list of affiliated scholars. This decision, made without public announcement, highlights the intense scrutiny and pressure surrounding her work. It also raises questions about how universities handle controversies involving their faculty, especially when those controversies have international implications. Albanese, who serves as the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the Palestinian territories, has become a lightning rod for both praise and fierce criticism. Her outspoken views on the Israel-Hamas conflict have made her a prominent voice in international human rights discussions, but have also placed her at the center of heated debates and political backlash. Her statements have not only fueled diplomatic tensions, but have also led to tangible consequences for her professional affiliations. Governments and advocacy groups have weighed in, some supporting her right to speak out, while others have called for sanctions and demanded her removal from influential positions. Georgetown's decision to distance itself from Albanese reflects the immense pressure universities face when their scholars become embroiled in global controversies. Academic institutions must balance the principles of academic freedom with the realities of political and public scrutiny, often making difficult choices that can have far-reaching consequences. This story delves into who Francesca Albanese is, the nature of the sanctions imposed against her, the backlash from Western governments, and the complex response from Georgetown University. It examines the personal and professional costs of taking a stand on contentious global issues. Ultimately, the case underscores the profound real-world impact that occurs when academic freedom collides with the high-stakes politics of one of the world's most contentious and emotionally charged conflicts. Francesca Albanese is an Italian lawyer and academic specializing in Middle Eastern human rights and refugee law. Her expertise led to her 2022 appointment as UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the Palestinian territories. In this independent role, she reports on conditions in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, often criticizing Israeli policies. Supporters see her as a principled advocate for Palestinian rights, while critics accuse her of bias and downplaying Palestinian violence. Her work has made her a polarizing figure, with advocacy groups and governments questioning her impartiality. This deep division set the stage for the unprecedented actions that followed. Albanese's position at the UN placed her at the center of a global storm. In July 2025, the US government took the extraordinary and almost unprecedented step of sanctioning Francesca Albanese, a United Nations Special Rapporteur known for her outspoken views on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This move sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles and was widely covered by international media, highlighting the gravity of the decision. By imposing these sanctions, the U.S. signaled deep and unequivocal disapproval of Albanese's recent conduct and public statements, which American officials argued had crossed a line from criticism into what they described as bias and misinformation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the sanctions at a high-profile press conference, outlining measures that would restrict Albanese's financial transactions, freeze any assets under U.S. jurisdiction, and bar her from traveling to the United States. The announcement was broadcast live, drawing immediate attention from both supporters and critics. The move was a direct challenge to the authority of the UN Human Rights Council, where Albanese served, and a clear message about U.S. priorities regarding Israel and its stance on international criticism. It underscored the growing rift between Washington and certain UN bodies. Months of escalating criticism from U.S. officials had preceded the decision. Albanese had become a lightning rod for controversy, seen by many in Washington as emblematic of what they viewed as a persistent anti-Israel bias at the United Nations. Editorials and op-eds debated her role, and diplomatic cables revealed mounting frustration. The sanctions shocked the diplomatic and human rights communities, with many diplomats and activists expressing disbelief at the severity of the U.S. response. Some saw it as a dangerous precedent, while others worried about the impact on international cooperation. Supporters of Albanese condemned the move as an attack on international oversight and freedom of expression, arguing that it threatened the independence of UN experts. Meanwhile, critics of Albanese welcomed the sanctions, calling them long overdue and necessary to hold UN officials accountable. The U.S. action placed it at the forefront of opposition to Albanese's work, setting a new tone for how the government would respond to what it perceives as unfair treatment of its allies on the world stage. Ultimately, the episode marked a significant turning point in the relationship between the United States and the UN's human rights apparatus, raising questions about the future of international accountability and the boundaries of national influence over global institutions. The U.S. justified its sanctions by citing Francesca Albanese's engagement with the International Criminal Court, a move that immediately drew international attention and sparked heated debate among legal scholars and diplomats alike. Officials accused her of supporting efforts to prosecute Americans and Israelis for alleged war crimes, framing her actions as a direct challenge to U.S. and Israeli sovereignty. The U.S. has long opposed ICC jurisdiction over its citizens and those of Israel, arguing that the court lacks authority over countries that have not consented to its mandate. Neither the United States nor Israel are parties to the Rome Statute, the treaty that established the ICC, and both have consistently rejected its jurisdiction over their nationals. Albanese's cooperation with ICC investigations was therefore framed by U.S. officials as an unacceptable overreach, suggesting she was undermining national interests and international norms. Beyond the legal arguments, the State Department escalated its rhetoric, accusing her not only of bias but also of anti-Semitism and support for terrorism, serious charges that carry significant weight in international discourse. These accusations were based on her past statements and social media posts, which officials claimed revealed a pattern of prejudice and extremism. As a result, the dispute quickly shifted from a question of legal jurisdiction to a direct condemnation of Albanese's character and motives, fueling a media firestorm and public outcry. Critics of Albanese pointed to comments they argued downplayed attacks on Israelis, suggesting she failed to adequately acknowledge the suffering of Israeli victims. The U.S. government endorsed the view that her public statements and actions amounted to promoting a hateful agenda, further justifying the imposition of sanctions in the eyes of many officials. This combination of legal and personal accusations created a powerful rationale for the sanctions, blending concerns about international law with deeply personal allegations. Ultimately, the controversy over Albanese's role became a flashpoint in broader debates about international justice, national sovereignty, and accusations of bias, raising questions about the limits of accountability and the politicization of human rights advocacy. The backlash against Albanese intensified after her response to the October 7, 2023, Hamas attacks. French President Macron called the attacks the largest anti-Semitic massacre of our century, a view echoed by Western leaders. Albanese's social media post argued the victims were killed in response to Israeli oppression, not because of their Judaism. Critics saw this as justifying the attacks and denying their anti-Semitic nature, accusing her of moral failure. The comment was widely condemned by officials and advocacy groups, who said it rationalized violence against Jews. Albanese's defenders claimed her words were misinterpreted, insisting she was analyzing root causes, not excusing terror. The controversy further damaged her credibility and fueled calls for her removal. Albanese's remarks on the October 7 attacks drew swift condemnation from France and Germany. The French Foreign Ministry accused her of justifying terrorism, calling her comments scandalous and contrary to UN values. Germany labeled her statements appalling and a disgrace, emphasizing their commitment to combating anti-Semitism. These rebukes from two major European powers signaled a diplomatic crisis for Albanese and the UN. The unified stance of France and Germany gave momentum to calls for her accountability. The controversy made her continued role as a UN expert increasingly untenable. Amid mounting controversy, Georgetown University quietly cut ties with Francesca Albanese in December 2025. The move was revealed by watchdog group UN Watch, which posted evidence of her removal from the university's website. Georgetown offered no public explanation, but the timing suggested a response to the growing reputational risk. The university's silence left observers to connect the dots between the international backlash and her removal. For Georgetown, continuing to affiliate with a sanctioned UN expert had become a liability. The decision was widely seen as a calculated effort to protect the university's standing in Washington. Albanese's digital erasure from Georgetown underscored the real-world consequences of global controversy. Georgetown's decision sparked strong reactions from advocacy groups and academic experts. Critics of Albanese praised the move as a stand for academic integrity, arguing universities shouldn't legitimize those accused of anti-Semitism. Groups like UN Watch called it a victory for accountability, insisting that academic platforms shouldn't shield biased or hateful rhetoric. Supporters of Albanese, however, decried the decision as a blow to academic freedom and a capitulation to political pressure. They argued that universities should protect controversial scholars and foster open debate, not silence dissenting voices. The case became a flashpoint in the debate over academic independence versus institutional responsibility. For some, Georgetown's action was necessary. For others, it was an act of cowardice. The controversy highlighted the risks universities face when global politics intrude on academic life. The Francesca Albanese case captures the tension between academic freedom and institutional accountability in a polarized world. Her removal from Georgetown, following sanctions and international condemnation, shows the immense pressures on universities and the UN. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains a minefield for public figures and institutions alike. Universities must balance free inquiry with reputational concerns and political realities. The controversy also challenges the UN's system of independent experts, raising questions about credibility and bias. Albanese's story reflects the difficulty of finding common ground on sensitive issues and the real consequences of crossing political red lines. As this case shows, the boundaries between criticism, bias, and hate speech are fiercely contested, and the stakes are high.